Hi and welcome to nimble.handmade. My name is Bia and I'm coming to you from Belgium. In this Yarny Tale, I want to take you on an adventure in the wondrous world of yarn and knitting and crochet. I want to show you my projects, what I have finished, what's still on my needles. I have some news concerning my new pattern and the workshops that are coming up, and I also have a book tip. So grab yourself something nice to drink or do some sweets and maybe a project so we can dive right in. So first I would like to talk about what I'm wearing. This is my Dust of Snow scarf by Helen Stewart. It's one I made last year with my advent calendar by Olivia and Oliver Fibers in the Netherlands. Um, the snow bit is the kit silk that you combine with the yarn so the sock yarn from the Advent, and well, it makes a huge scarf. It's like something, I think, uh, 260 centimeters in length, and well, it's 60 or 70 centimeters wide, so it's huge. You have to wear it uh, in, in not twice, but 3 times around your neck. So it's very cozy, very warm. It's very soft as well. But as it was so huge, I thought, well, am I going to wear it? I might not wear it, but it's one of my favorite scarves, so I can definitely recommend the pattern. I also I still had quite some yarn left, so I made a second project as well, which was a sweater. I will wear it in my one of my next Yarny Tales. But definitely this pattern I really liked, and I'm just gonna show you up front. It's a lace pattern with some garter stitch in between. It was very fun to knit up. I did knit it in the Advent period, and it was well finished by the end of the year. I did um, put in quite a lot of knitting, but I am very pleased with the end result. It's a very nice and warm scarf. So that's what I'm wearing. Let's dive into the projects that I'm making. So the first one that I would like to touch on, and I'm just going to check my notes, is the Magnolia Bloom by Camilla. It's it only has one arm at the moment, but we're working on that. So as you can see, it's a top-down pattern with a folded collar. So you knit the collar, you fold it double, pick up the stitches, and then you go down, and you make these naps or bobbles, which is not handy with the yarn I chose. I'm just gonna tell you about that in a minute. But I think the lace pattern worked out really well. And then yeah, I did make it a little bit longer just because it was quite square, and well, that accentuated places that I didn't want to have accentuated. I also think I will lengthen my Christian sweater a bit so that it's well, you look a bit slimmer when you wear it. Anyway, uh, I really enjoyed knitting this one. I think the pattern is fabulous. And from this pattern, there are also many other um, patterns that start with this lace at the top, like a t-shirt and um, I, a kind of a dress, I think. And a cardigan, so lots to choose from. If you just type in Magnolia Bloom in Ravelry, you will find a lot of patterns by Camilla with the same lace pattern. But I made, I chose to make this sweater with, I'm just gonna take the plate of yarn. It's not a skein of yarn, it's a plate of yarn. It's Lopi by Istix, and it's an Icelandic yarn that is unspun. It's not something for beginners. Well, as you can see, I have put it on this kind of swivel thing. I don't know how it's called in English. To easily get my yarn. So normally I start from the inside out, so that my yarn balls don't go all over the place when I pull some yarn. And I also put it on the floor to have some tension on the yarn, especially when you knit with two separate uh, threads. No, not threads. Anyway, you understand what I mean. So you pull out two balls at the same time, and it's on the floor. So you get some tension, and then they are smooth. You can work them together smoothly. This is not the case with this yarn. You have to be very, very careful, because it it falls apart like butter. So it wasn't, well, it was a challenge to knit, um, and certainly the knobs or the bobbles were challenging when you go about the sleeves or the body. It's just stuck in it. It's hard on your hands because there are hairs. Icelandic sheep don't only have a fleece, they also have hairs that stick out, and they make for the strength of the yarn, so that you can use it as unspun yarn. But they also tend to, well, you have to insert your needle and then maneuver your needle in sometimes. So I think it's quite hard on the hands to work with. But anyway, I think the result will be beautiful, and I really like having a sweater like this, because we had some marvelous weather during last week and the weekend. But now the sun is slowly fading, and I think I will be able to use this one as soon as it's finished. So one sleeve left to go, and then yeah. The next project is one that I already had on my needles as well last time. It's the sweater number 20 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It doesn't look like a sweater at the moment. I'm just gonna make sure that I explain what you are looking at. So this would be at the back, and then these are the seams for the shoulders, and then you knit the shoulders, and then you knit the V, and then you attach them to one another, and then in the end you have like this for your sleeve. So the insert of the sleeve is here, and then you would knit in the round for the rest of the body. This one is quite hard on the hands as well, and I do like the repetition of the cables. It's not that it's incomprehensible or hard to do. It's just that you feel it on your hands. I'm knitting this with Isofeli by Novita, and well, that's a sock yarn, so I hope it will be very durable, and that it won't pill as much. But it also makes sure that, I don't know if you can see it because it's quite dark, the yarn, but it gives a nice definition to the cables. Anyway, what I also wanted to tell is that it's not that easy to pick up the stitches. In the pattern, she says you have to insert your needle in the stitch and not in between. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna pick up the number of stitches that is indicated, and then all will be fine. But it wasn't. As you can see on this side, you see that, well, there where you made the increases, sometimes the stitch is a little bit, well, it's going to the other side. I don't know if it's really visible. So what you need to do is to insert your needle in the stitch itself. So the first one you can find, and that makes quite a big ridge, I think. So you can see it here. That's quite a sturdy ridge at the back of your work, but it gives a better result, as you can see here. So you can't see that it was increased over here. I hope you understand what I mean, because it's quite technical, but when you're in the pattern, you're able to see it. Now, she indicates that you have to pick up a certain number of stitches. The first time that I did it, it didn't work out, and of course, I wanted a small ridge, which meant that I didn't go far enough down and into the stitches, and it was visible. It was not nice. So therefore, I did rip it back, and I restarted it intentionally, picking up stitches, like the number of stitches that is one cable over here. I picked up these stitches over here, and I did it cable per cable, and in term, yeah. So the garter stitch, or the purl stitches, I also counted them, and there is one stitch missing. I don't know why she said that I needed an extra stitch. I can't find it. I can't find it in the drawing. I can't find it in when I count the stitches myself. So I'm going to knit this with one stitch less. But I don't think it will be visible in the end. Well, that being said, it's a nice pattern to work on because it keeps you interested. You do your, it's not very intricate or difficult to read the pattern because it's well written, but it's hard on the hands, as I said. So I'm not sure if I will finish it still this spring. Might be a project that goes into a summer hibernation. I don't know how to say that in in English. I call it een zomerslaapje, which is a summer sleep in Dutch, but I don't think that translates well. So anyway, we're still working on this. I certainly am going to try to finish the shoulder pieces, and then we'll see what we'll do with it. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say about this project. On to the next one. The next one is also a cable project. It's the summer not the summer socks, it's the Cider House socks by Summer Lee. This is the first one. It's not blocked yet, so it's a bit wonky. But I think you can see how the cables worked out. It's a very simple pattern, and it's very well written as well. I am making it with long yarn, wool, and I found out that there is also a very, so this one is a superwash yarn, 75% wool and 25% polyamide. There is a wool version with silk in it. So the yarn that is used for the pink stripes is the one with the silk in it, and it's very soft. It's very much softer than the regular wool yarn, and it's a bit thicker, and I really like that. So the next ones will be in the silk version. But anyway, this one is these are the cables that are on the foot, and of course on the back of the foot, so on the sole part, you knit just plain stockinette stitch. And the one thing I regret is this. So I hope you can see it. The ridge that is here, which is some guard. Is it? No, it's purl stitch. It's just one purl stitch and not two. So in between the cables and the stripes, there are two purl stitches, and of course there is only one because it's where the heel starts. So this is the part that you have on one needle when you do magic loop, as I did. This is the part on the other side, and of course you start doing the heel, and then you work your foot into the stockinette stitch. The first purl and the last purl, I didn't do that anymore for the sole of the foot. It wasn't indicated in the pattern either, so it's not something that is obligatory and that I forgot. It's just something that I think would be nice if I would remake these socks. It's a nice pattern to work with. It's well, you do the cables in one, all cables in one row, or in one row, and then you just knit on, knit on, knit on, and then there's a cable row. So it is something you can take with you, which I truly enjoyed. The next one is my Soul Soothing Squares blanket, and as you can see, I already have quite some squares. Well, as I mentioned in the previous episodes, I'm a chronic migraine patient, which means that a lot of the time I'm not able to do something complicated or something that requires some brain space. So to have something that is well, it's all, this blanket is a bit about self-care. So I have this huge basket. I made myself a huge basket, all acrylic yarn scraps, and I have a small basket, and I come up here and fill my small basket. And whenever I have a headache, well, there are a number of hours that you just can't do anything, but after that you just need to come back to earth, as I experience it. And in these hours, I can do something, but nothing that involves thinking. So that's why I do granny squares. I have put I have categorized in. I have my whole box, and then I put the colors in 3 categories. So the first one is more the yellowish yarns that are for the heart of the granny square. Then I have 4 rows in more purple, red, pink tones, and then the border is in the more bluish, greenish kind of colors. And so each one is different, but it has the same sequence. And I do hope that will give some nice. Well, it will make it more evenly more even than when you use everything, every scrap you have, and you just put them in at random. But we'll see about that. So my intention is to make 35 of these squares. I'm now at about 20, I think, and then crochet them together with a beigey color, I think, something beige or white or neutral, anyway, to make it even more soothing to the eye. Um, but we'll see. I'm still working on this one. I still have lots and lots of yarn left. I didn't realize that you only need so much for a granny square. So I think it will be more than one blanket in these colors, but I do enjoy this one. And it's certainly something I will continue doing. Sorry, that did clatter on my table. Then I also have a project that just popped into my knitting bag out of nowhere. I really like gals and mals. So crochet alongs, knit alongs, make alongs, and this one was one I couldn't resist. As I told you, I do have a very large yarn stash, and whenever a pattern comes around and I think, well, this yarn would work for that pattern, um, then yeah, something gets out of the box. Then I need to go and find the yarn, choose the colors, and yeah, start making. So the mel that I'm making, I'm just gonna get it a bit closer, is the genre smell by Alexandra of Two of Wands. And this is what I already have. I didn't realize that the make-along was only starting at the 10th of March. The pattern was released at the end of February, and I was so enthusiastic about it. I saw her announcement, and I saw the color theory around it. I was totally entranced by the whole thing, and that's why I already started it. Now, You and Me is by Lion Brand, and that's a yarn that's not available here in Europe, at least not in Belgium. I think it's available in UK, but the UK is as far as the US for us now when it comes to buying something, because when you order, it has to go through customs and you have to pay duties, etc. So that's not really something desirable. Anyway, I have found a similar yarn here at Zeeman, which is a Dutch store in Belgium and in the Netherlands, of course. And it's kind of similar because it's 80% acrylic, 20% wool. I think it's not plied the way You and Me yarn is plied, but it's similar. It's also knit up with a 8mm needle. So I was able to get gauge and start knitting on this make along. Now, Alexandra has, well, she almost for every pattern, I think, she has knit version and the crochet version, and I'm making the knit version, and it all has to do with books. So it's called the genre small make along. You can choose to make the crocheted version, which is the book club wrap, and I am making the storyteller wrap in the knit version. She also, you can tell she has graphic design skills because, well, every little bit of the shawl she explained. So these are the characters, and that builds up to the main part where uh, all the characters, where the drama unfolds, and all the characters meet each other. Um, well, there is a stitch in between, which looks like the leaves of a book. This one looks like books stacked on a shelf. So, well, it was really intriguing to hear her talk about uh, all the booky things. I don't know. That's not proper English, I think, but well, anything that has to do with the books in concerning this make along. Um, she also has these mood boards she created for every genre. There is a different mood board, and she puts the colors together. Uh, these are wonderful. I chose these ones because the white was still something that I had 3 balls of, and then for the other colors, you only need 1 ball of yarn. So that was what it was in my stash. But anyway, what the color she has in this You and Me palette and what she put together is just stunning. I bought the pattern because I think that buying the pattern is a way to show that you are appreciative of the designer. Um, and I opened it, and it was 80 pages, and I was like, what? For just one scarf, which didn't look as very difficult to me, but it includes all the mood board she made. So, so don't print out the 80 pages, just print out the pattern you need, and then you can start on this wrap. Now, the official start is the 10th of March, and then she will release some videos. So the pattern was released beforehand, and I really appreciate that because then you can see what you're getting into. It's not all mystery. Um, but as I said, I couldn't stop. I couldn't wait, and then I, I I went in early, so I'm a bit ahead of the make along. Anyway, this one is one I will truly enjoy. It's not hard, um, and of course she will explain in her videos as well. Um, yeah, so this is nice to have in between. And then for the next one, we are going a bit back into history. A few days ago, I did send out the Sophie hood scarf to my friend. Um, so I'm just gonna hop back in time and then afterward come back to you to talk a little more. So this is the Pia from a few days ago, maybe a wrinkle less. You can always tell me. But I'm here to show you the Sophie hood, which I'm going to send off to a friend, a very dear friend. But first, I would like to talk to you about it, of course. I made the Sophie hood in blue, in pale blue. She has bright blue eyes, so I think that will bring it out even more, as the shawl makes, yeah, wraps the contours of your face. It brings out your eyes more, or so I hope. I hope to get a picture later on so that maybe I can put it in, or you can see it on Instagram. For this Sophie hood, I used 2 yarns instead of 1, because in my stash I could only find 2 balls of this one and some of this Drops Air yarn. So the Drops Air has alpaca in it, which is a smooth yarn but with a very soft touch. And then we have the Lala Berlin, which is a mix yarn. I'm just gonna check. It has some mohair, 42%, and there is then wool and a bit of polyamide, which makes it stronger, of course. This one is very soft and very fluffy. So I have, well, I don't know how to say that in English. In Dutch, or rather in French, we say ton sur ton, which means the same shade on the same shade. So the blue, there is not much difference between the 2 colors. And when you see them on the yarn balls, the difference is bigger than when you see it on the fabric itself. Nevertheless, I think it makes a very nice effect, and it works well for the entire shawl. It's not really noticeable, but it's just a small added detail. So how I did that is you knit 2 rows with, let's say, the Drops Air. At the end of the row, you don't knit the 3 last stitches, you just pick them off your needle without knitting them with the yarn in front. Then you knit 2 rows with the Lala Berlin. You don't knit the last 3 stitches, you get them off your needle with the yarn in front. And then when you start knitting again with the Drops Air, you twist the yarn in the back of your I-cord and you start knitting with the Drops Air. So it's not hard to make the transition when you're working with an I-cord. Anyway, so I started at one point over here, then I did some increases, and then I did a modification, because the pattern doesn't really say what's the difference between the 3 sizes included. I think it's the length of the shawl, and I wanted something in between. So I picked the small size and I added some plain rows without any increases or decreases when you are going back, so that the length of the shawl is a bit longer, and it's also a bit bulkier. So the first layer around your neck will be the entire width of the shawl. And then I started the hood. So I put some, so the 3 stitches from the I-cord, I put them on a stitch marker, and then I knit the entire hood. So you start knitting, you make some decreases, then you go back making increases, and then you just knit up to here. You pick the stitches from the stitch marker back up, so the I-cord, and then you go back, not forgetting the first plain piece and then the piece with the decreases, and then it's finished. So it's a quick knit, but one with a stunning effect, I think. And in the end, you just have to sew this ridge, and Mette has a tutorial for that if you can't figure out how to do it. For this one, I needed to make sure that all the rows matched, because of course you can see that there might be, yeah, you see that there's always a little bit of difference because, well, you need to pick up the yarn, but I don't think it's very noticeable. So that's the Sophie hood. I am looking forward to hear what she thinks of it. I will post some pictures if I have them, and of course, I would like to make one for myself. So that will be one of the next projects, or yeah, maybe it might be for winter next year, because of course it's getting a bit warmer and a bit sunnier here in Belgium. Let's hope it stays that way. And then there are the workshops. So I'm giving workshops here in Mechelen at Wolstory. And the next two are, first of all, the granny bag. It's a start to granny workshop, so you don't have to have any experience with crocheting grannies. And the second one is the Easy Breezy Scarflet, which is a design of mine that is intended to teach you all the crochet stitches. So there's no experience needed as well. In the first one, in the Start to Granny, if you already have some experience, you can also attend. I will teach you how to make the perfect granny with no or almost none yarn ends to weave in. And well, the it's not an invisible join. It's well, I make it quite invisible to step up for the next row, but everything will be explained in that workshop as well. So, if you would like to pick up crochet, or if you would like to pick up crochet again, then you're warmly invited to subscribe to the workshops through the website of Whole Story. Standard, they are in Dutch, but if you are English speaking, I will of course translate for you. So please mention that when subscribing, and then it will all work out, and you are very welcome. The last workshop I gave was the Sugar Spikes shawl, and now I have turned it into a pattern, which is available in Dutch and in English. And if you purchase it this week, you get a discount of 30% off with the code SUGAR. So come to my website, nimble.handmade.be, or on Ravelry, and you can get this scarf pattern. It's of course explained how you make this chevron stitches. You well, you need some experience with crochet or knitting before you go into a pattern like this, but it's all explained, and if you have any questions, you can contact me, of course. The last thing I have is a book tip. Here in Belgium, we had this last week was the Kom op tegen kanker week, which means that all kinds of actions, supportive actions, are done for people who have cancer, and well, all these actions provide some funding for research, of course. And in that light, I read the book. I'm just gonna check for the title. I did read it in English. What Does It Feel Like by Sophie Kinsella. Now, Sophie is, alas, a cancer patient herself. She has a brain tumor, and that's what she talks about in this book. So it's fiction, but part of it is autobiography. And although it's a heavy subject, of course, she writes it lightly. It's not as funny as the books, the shopaholic books, which she's known for. She has this very witty humor. That's not included in this book. But still, it's not a sad book. It's a book of hope, and I really am in awe of her writing a book like this. I know that for some writers it can be a redemption to write about something that happens in their life, but this one is a tough nut to crack, I think. And well, I really enjoyed reading it, and I think it's stunning that she wrote a book like this. I really hope she can get better, heal from this disastrous illness, and keep on writing. I have come to the end of this episode. It's a bit of a longer episode because I was away for a while. But I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. If you liked it, please subscribe. Please do all the things, a thumbs up, maybe you can leave a comment telling me what you think about some of the items I showed you. I would be very appreciative of that. But in the meantime, see you. Bye.